Hi, it's Jason Waters and welcome to my Mortgage Minute. Today, I am excited to have David and Damon with Pfotzer Properties. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Doing amazing. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So, tell us a little bit about yourselves. Let's start with your company and then let's talk about you. So what does Pfotzer Properties do?
Sure. So we are a real estate investment group. The simplest way to think of it is we pull funds together and we strictly use those funds for real estate. And more specifically, we use those funds for Georgia real estate. All of our holdings is in Georgia, and we're looking to hopefully expand, and that's what brought Damon on the team.
Okay. So residential, commercial, like what kind of properties are you buying?
Sure. So to go into depth, our investment group started out as a minimum investment of $5,000. And so having that small amount kept us in the residential world. Now that we've been in the business for so long, we've been able to raise enough funds to where now we're actually doing commercial real estate, more or less multifamily.
Okay.
So yeah, so a typical deal for us now looks like it's in the $5 to $15 million range versus before it was $100,000.
Great. Are these funded by investors or funded by lenders, or how does that work?
So the secret to our success is the deal is always funded by the investor. And then once it's fully stabilized, we can go to someone like yourself who gets us financing to pull money out and for us to kind of continue the process.
Okay. So investors, so tell me about the investors. Are those folks that are looking to get a higher return than they could get elsewhere, or they're just like, hey, I want to invest in real estate, but I don't know anything about real estate? Who are investors?
Both. So, I mean, for us, it's always risk versus reward. We have some investors who just like the real estate world.
Yeah.
We pay our investors anywhere between 4% to 8% based on how much they invest. It could be a monthly dividend, a quarterly dividend, or a yearly dividend based on what kind of rate they look to make. Okay. And so you have investors who don't like the stock market. They think it's too risky or not enough control to where they can come to Georgia and literally see, touch, and be a part of our transactions.
Okay, great. So David, you started this firm when?
Bought my first house when I was 20. So I actually started this company in Delaware, where I bought 5 homes, but then I realized you need access to capital. Well, I wish I knew you and maybe we would have grown faster, but I knew we needed access to capital. And the Delaware Northeast market, there's not enough margins to bring on an investor. And so I traveled down south and realized, oh my gosh, for $100,000, I can get a single family home versus up there, our first time home buyer prices were in the $250,000.
So this has really been your career. Started when you're 20. I mean, this is what you've done. So.
It was a blessing and a curse. I mean, having a property your junior year of college, I couldn't have a professor tell me anything. So I don't know if that was a good thing from a college student standpoint, but it definitely shaped my interactions. I mean, I used to play golf and I was like, well, man, I'm about to graduate. What am I going to do for a living? Yeah. I knew nothing about real estate and I didn't even know what a mortgage was or how to buy a house. And you kind of just learn as you go. I mean, real estate is extremely slow. And so I was prepared for that. And now I'm reaping the benefits of it, but it's extremely slow. So I don't think a lot of investors like real estate because it's so slow. They'd rather go to the stock market or Bitcoin or something that overnight you can
Sure.
either make or lose money.
Yeah, I mean, over the long term, real estate's going to go up, just like over the long term stock market goes up. And with real estate, you have the added advantage of leverage, which can help or hurt, cuts both ways, but hopefully usually helps. Damon, tell me about you. How'd you get in the business?
I started out in multifamily, opposite of single family homes at first. Okay. I started out as a leasing agent, worked my way up to assistant manager, learning the operations in and out. I worked my way up to property manager. I actually left off site and ended up going to the corporate office as a regional marketing director. And then I end up tapping into regional manager, and then I end up tapping into vice president, which brings me here actually. So the great thing is about my experience was that I've had an opportunity to tap into so many different programs that came with multifamily, from single family homes to student housing. I've also been a project manager, so I know the construction side of things, from renovation, where in some places we did almost $80,000 a door when we renovated these single family homes and these apartments. So when David and I got a chance to conversate and I knew what direction he was going in with the organization, it just made sense for us to come work together and just take this thing to the next level.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So what is the next level? What does this look like in the future?
Sure. So, I mean, very excited. I mean, keep in mind, a year and a half ago, we were still doing single family homes. Now, granted, we've got a portfolio of 30 single family homes and 48 apartment complexes with 15 acres that we already own. We're under contract for an additional 30 acres. So, I mean, we have a lot going on. And now that we financially can afford a VP and the demand for it is there, I'm thrilled to death that Damon's on the team. I mean, the value that he provides to us with his experience should catapult us. And so he's going to help us out from start to finish on every project that we have. I mean, like I said, I'll keep myself humble, and I think he's got more experience than I do. So I mean, I'm very thankful that he's on the team, and I think the stuff that we're going to be capable of doing is going to be awesome.
That's great. Great. I look forward to seeing what it looks like.
Definitely. I think that we have a lot of things in the pipeline within the next 6 months to a year that will truly position us to where we won't even have to go look for investors. Investors will come and find us.
That's great.
We truly have new constructions coming on board. And as David said earlier, we have investors that invest as little as $500 and they're able to invest and see their money work for them.
That's interesting. So there's not you don't have to have a certain threshold or $500. That's pretty small entry fee.
Exactly. So and that's where the software comes into play. I mean, prior to us having this software, 2 years ago, I tried to implement this, and A, financially we couldn't afford it. And B, I don't think the technology was there. And so truly from start to finish, an investor can go on their smartphone device, click the documents that they need to fill out, transfer the money that they need to fill out. So within 15 minutes from start to finish, an investor can join with us. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna be a game changer. I mean, there's already companies that are doing this, so it's not that we're new to this. It's just, I think our separation for success is our transparency. If you Google the largest crowdfunding companies right now and you call them up, chances are you won't get anybody on the phone. Versus we're here locally in Georgia. You can come see us, an investor can come see us. For the longest time, I used to make an investor take my phone calls, make sure they knew exactly start to finish what we were doing before I even took their money. And so most of my investors, I've never even met though. I mean, 95% of them are off Facebook, LinkedIn, word of mouth, tenants. So it's pretty exciting what I think we're about to really take this to the next level.
That's great. Hey, tell me about the software that you were mentioning.
Sure. So there's a bunch of companies that do exactly what we do. I mean, there's no difference. The only thing is they're not transparent. And so when it comes to, let's say, the mortgage world, for instance, there's a lot of ways you can hide fees, hide rates. Most people aren't familiar with it. And so that's where we like to stay transparent and say, listen, there's no fees for our investment company. What you see is what you get. We send you a schedule of payment so you know exactly how much you're going to make and when you're going to get paid. We have a team on staff now to where if an investor has a question, they can email us, they can call us. They know, for the longest time, these people used to know where I personally lived. Since now, my fiance has gotten a little bit wiser with security and things like that to where, hey, listen, maybe we just need to keep this a little bit off. But I think that's been our key to success. I mean, truly what I say does take place. And I think an investor, if I say we're going to do it and it's going to get done, I mean, I've gotten $100,000 investments just off a handshake. I've had people come to a property that we were renovating, write me a check on the spot.
Another great thing about this website is, again, they don't have to deal with a person. We are now living in an era where people, they love the social media, they love online, they love surfing the net. And we're giving them an avenue to where when you want to research us, you can go through the social media, you can go through all the aspects that you need to, but you don't have to contact us to just invest with us. You can literally go directly to the actual software, which is now the website that's coming on board, and read about us, read your own docs for yourself, print them off, and then sign them. And literally, like David said, within 5 minutes or 15 minutes of you completing that form, adding your information, you now are an investor.
That's awesome. That's a great opportunity for people.
And we're providing you a payment schedule. So you know exactly when your distribution check is on the way.
That's the transparency we're talking about. Too.
That's the transparency.
So we mentioned before the show, you had a couple $10 million deals. What does that look like?
Sure. So, and this is kind of where I think having that mortgage background will definitely help your viewers or clients understand this new realm of it. So leveraging money has always been key to growth. And so a $10 million deal for us looks like a $2 million equity raise or infusion or whatnot. And that can be either we build single family homes to rent or apartment complexes. And right now we already own land to build an apartment complex. We're under contract, which I think it's going to take place to where we can build 70 homes in Griffin. And that would be a build to rent. And so that's, again, where you having the mortgage background to where we can go to you and say, well, listen, we own the land. We've already done 3 houses. We're looking to pour gasoline on this. What can you get us from a financing standpoint?
Exactly.
Maybe you say, well, listen, you need to put 10% down, 15% down, or hey, let me refinance those houses that you just built. It gives us options. And so honestly, a $10 million deal for us is really a couple $1 million of investor funds that we would need to get this executed.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the whole, I remember years ago, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? And they talked about 4 greenhouses and 1 red hotel monopoly. And that's basically what you've done is you got your 4 greenhouses and now you're doing your red hotels. It's an awesome story.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, our game plan is to scale. So, I mean, this is definitely, let's do an interview. I'll promise you to do an interview a year from now. And I can't promise you we'll only be in Georgia, but no, we're excited for what we've got going on.
That's great. Well, so let me ask you one more question, let you go. So what do you see in current state of the market? I know residential is super hot. What does that look like in your world?
Sure. So actually one of my investors, I threw this out on LinkedIn. Hey, we're about to do an interview. What do you guys want to hear and see? And so one of my investors said, hey, well, what's the current state of the market? Where do you see it going? Blah, blah, blah. For us, we're only in Georgia to where I can kind of only speak about the Georgia market. But to go into depth, I think there's 2 types of buyers to justify what the market is. You have those, and I'm sure you come across this all the time as a mortgage broker, you have those people who are going to purchase a home no matter what happens. I'm graduating from college. I want to move out. I'm having a baby. I'm getting married. I'm getting a divorce. I'm tired of living at my parents' house. They will buy a house regardless of the price, regardless of your interest, and that will never change. The backside of it is just supply and demand. Right now in Georgia, and pretty much I would assume across the nation, they're not building. When was the last time you saw a home builder build a house for under 200,000?
Right.
It's almost unheard of. I mean, even for us, our economics means we have to be able to have that ARV or that value of at least 300,000 to justify us building square feet.
Yeah. And
so anything under 200,000, those prices are going to continue to climb just from a supply.
Exactly.
Now, more specifically with the real estate market here in Georgia, again, there's a backlog of it. COVID didn't slow anything down. I think there's a huge demand for rentals. I mean, our occupancy are high on that side. From a housing demand, there's a huge demand for it. And it's just simply, honestly, supply and demand. It has nothing to do with pricing of lumber, how much you're paying for rent. I mean, mortgages are at, the rates you can get are 3, 4, 5%, depending on what you want.
Yeah. Well, we're still we saw rates come up a little bit, but then they came back down and they're still kind of hovering just under 3 on a conventional mortgage, which is insane.
And this is why the thing is, the economics is great right now, but also we have to look at Griffin and why it's such the territory that we want to tap into. I mean, right now we're looking at Griffin where last month alone, a house did not stay on the market longer than 9 days. Okay. Wow. We have to keep in mind that last year, this time, it was 28 days. We're talking where they sold 99 homes in May alone compared to the 75 from last year. Mm-hmm. So this is why we're saying, hey, if you want to invest and you want to tap into our market, we can help you. I mean, make investors literally alone great money by showing them why we're tapping into these great markets and what the markets really look like. So not just Georgia alone, but if you're interested in why we're tapping into the Griffin market, this is why. Over the next 10 years, we're looking at a 44.8% in job increase.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Yet alone, we're talking about Griffin, who's already had a 2.9 increase in the job market this year alone. And we're only in June.
Yeah.
So when you look at the numbers, and I tell people this all the time, numbers don't lie. As long as you align them right, you can always take your answer and put it back into your problem and come up with the exact answer that you should. So that's what we've been doing. And that's why we're tapping into this market, because we know that not only for us, but also for our investors, this is a great territory to tap into.
That's great. Great stuff, guys. Hey man, it's been awesome. Any final thoughts? Like, how can people get in touch with you?
They can go to our website, which is pfotzerproperties.com. I'd love for you to put your information as well, because we do have tenants who look to purchase our homes.
Absolutely.
And so in the last 2 years, we probably sold about 10 homes to our tenants. So yeah, I mean, definitely put your information, put our information, and I think it would be a win-win for both parties.
We'll do that. All right. Well, I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Until next time, y'all have a great summer. To get in touch with me, again, I'm Jason Waters with Affinity Home Lending. My website is watersteam.co, and you can always find me on any social media channel. Just search Jason Waters Mortgage, and I'll be there. So until next time, take care.
Awesome. Thank you.